Hey guys, and welcome back to Professor Layton and the Curious Village. It's turned dark and Ramone still hasn't returned. I guess we're going to have to go and have a bit of a shufty around the village and see if we can find him.
I knew I should have put a leash on the guy. It's illegal to walk your Ramone around this parts without a leash, actually.
Oh, this music. One of my favourite bits on the soundtrack. In fact, I'd probably go so far as to say it's my favourite bit next to the main theme, Layton's theme.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good call, to be honest.
Hey, I got a puzzle for you guys.
Oh.
Are you ready to hear my puzzle?
Yes, that's what all means.
Okay, how many words does it take for Adria to spill out of her mouth before I slap her fucking teeth in?
I'm going to hazard a guess that it's less than 5, but more than 1.
No, it's not even 1. You're almost there.
Oh,
You're
fuck.
almost there.
I don't even get the most amount of picarettes.
It's just like the sheer nerve and audacity of this character. I think everybody hates her, like at least to some degree. I know I do.
Sometimes you try and go for a very abrasive kind of NPC, and yeah, for me, she kind of went overboard. Is she meant to be like a type of valley sort of girl?
I'm getting that vibe from her, yeah.
I mean, it kind of is probably the closest thing you'd have to her, but in the end, she just ends up being a complete bitch.
Yeah, and this from the guy who went on a feminism run in the last part.
Yeah.
And I suppose in terms of a character design that's designed to be antagonistic, sure, okay, that works out. But that still doesn't mean I don't want to strangle her fucking neck. Come on.
Why is it always the violence for you?
Well, in this case, I think it's a little justified.
She got a fucking morpher on her wrist, mate. You better watch her.
Oh, alright, sure.
She's laughing because you ain't gonna touch the...
Oh? You don't think I won't?
This took a major turn into the dark.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Layton. I don't know what to tell you, mate. At least we got a painted scrap out of the ordeal.
It's fine, I don't think we actually have to deal with Adria much anymore from this point on.
Thank God.
I mean, to be honest, that was her key moment of rudeness, to which, yes, Layton responds with, Who do you think you are, young lady?
Yeah, they're about as verbose as Layton ever gets, really.
And it's about as angry as he ever gets outside of stuff where people are emotionally playing with him.
No.
I really have to wonder what Layton would be like if he really just fucking flipped. Like, how would he respond? Like, do you think he's one of those guys where he more has a... Like, maybe if he gets so mad, he just kind of gets really calm. I kind of think that would be how Layton would do it, and that's when he'd actually be even more scary.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is actually how he acts, because, I mean, if you look at the way he does the kind of final bits of the cutscenes in pretty much all of the Layton games, you can always see that he goes really quite calm and sets everything out before kind of pulling the rug out of all the secrets. And that was really hard to try and explain without spoiling anything.
Well, that's a really long lead into a puzzle.
Well, it's a long lead into a very, very long part.
Yep. This might actually be the longest part of the playthrough. Let me have a look.
It is. It definitely
So do you think the
is.
lead-in is like a puzzle loading time then? Oh, we gotta load the puzzle up, gotta set in all the pieces. Just let me talk to you for a little bit.
Oh, these cards, man. These cards. They take a while.
Yeah, just don't play that puzzle called 52 Card Pickup. Not a good puzzle at all, I just found.
Yeah, it's not even a puzzle. It's more of a riddle than anything. Okay, not actually a puzzle, but we do have to do something for Gerard here. This guy. Shit, man, if I find that watch, I'm keeping it.
Well, I mean, the thing is that if you end up dealing with most people in the general public, yes, they would just pick it up and take it.
Why not?
Well, I mean, technically it's theft, but, I mean, finders keepers, losers weepers.
Sorry. One of my most loved comedic things is the perfect beat. Like, yeah, a good amount of time after someone says something stupid, and then something really flat is said.
You just kind of let it sink in at that point.
Yeah. Oh man, I've just been standing there holding this wristwatch all day. Oh,
Why does his mouth hang open every time we speak to him?
hey man, some people, they can't breathe through their nose.
I always just think he's just kind of amazed looking at something in the distance. Oh, what's that? That's pretty cool.
The viewers look kind of sweet.
I like your hair.
I'm gonna make it mine. Nah, Deke's a cool guy. Apart from that one time when he founded an entertainment branch and made some really shitty cartoons, that one's so nice.
Yeah, that was not Deke's best work, I've found. Although I did really like that one cartoon about the inspector who was also a robot.
Oh, Inspector Gizmo.
Yeah, that's exactly the one I meant.
That's the UK version. Like in America, Deke is spelled D-I-C. In this one, it's D-E-K-E.
Yeah, those weird British spellings for common words, I suppose.
You mean the correct spellings for those common words?
Okay, well, Deke isn't really a real word, so any way you could spell it is pretty much accurate.
Count the triangles. How many can you find in this picture, Helldragon?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you just went through there that fast. I was working on it.
Well, you were wrong anyway. It was 12.
Well, that's because you didn't let me finish fucking counting.
Count faster then, bitch. Layton doesn't have time for your excuses. None of them.
Another puzzle solved.
Well, good job. You counted triangles. Awesome. I'm glad you got picarettes for that.
Well, I mean, we totally deserve them. Counting triangles is very hard work.
Yeah, it's technically maths.
Is that what a mathematician does for his work? Listen, we got all these triangles we needed counted today, so they're in the back. You know, if you need any help moving them, I'll come by and help you. It'll be fine.
This is gonna be a three-person job. That's a maths joke.
That's a lot of triangles. Layton, give it to Layton.
Animals. Luke.
Well, it's okay. I guess I don't need help sleeping.
It's very unsubtle, this game, about which bit needs to go where.
Yeah, who wants this series of books on archaeology? Is it Luke or Layton?
No, I think Luke needs to brush up on that skill set, so better give it to him.
Yeah, he could use them as pillows.
He ain't got nothing else. Well, he did get a bed last time, thankfully. Oh, well, no, the bed didn't come with the pillow.
No, I think it did. Just about. But did you like what I did with saying, would Luke get a bed before night falls? Very unsubtly using the chapter title for this chapter.
Ah. Alright.
Leave the puns and foreshadowing to me, Richard.
Yeah. Also, it is a really, really odd little change. So I believe in the American version, that sign says "in" on it. There's nothing in the UK version on it.
Huh.
So, wait, they brushed it out of the UK version because of that filthy English? You know, like with 4Kids did with Pokemon letters?
Yeah, and at one point, Shelby points a gun at Layton, because obviously he thinks he's, disrupting the investigation. In the UK version, not there.
It's just his finger.
Bang, bang, you're dead.
I always love that. When Bandit Keith loses at Duelist Kingdom, he gets carried off, then he fucking runs back and he leaps over to Pegasus' platform. But since this is the dub, he's just standing there like a complete fucking asshole, pointing his finger at Pegasus' head like it's gonna fucking do anything. He thinks he's got a finger bang going on here. Like, that's his whole battle plan. And it's just, I love it every single time.
Could have chosen a different term there, moving hastily on. That was easy.
Don't... Just imagine, like... I don't know where this joke is going, never mind.
It's fine, we're about to get a watch. And apparently go to bed as well.
Counting triangles is hard work, I'm very tired.
I think, if I recall correctly, Night Falls is actually one of the shorter chapters in the game. I could be wrong on that, but because I think what we did here was that we merged two chapters together.
We may have done, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fixing to say it's like there's a Night Falls an hour long, but if you merge two chapters together, then okay.
It was either that or the intermission between Night Falls and the next chapter was super fucking long.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, where is that guy?
Does he do anything? Like, I'm trying to... Did they ever explain where Ramone is supposed to work or whatever?
Oh, he works at the manor.
Oh, okay.
He's like... What's the best way you could describe it, Richie? He's like the gatekeeper?
Yes, I mean, sort of the guy who helps you cross the river.
Yeah, like, you need to take a boat to reach that place. Honestly, just from the perspective of how everything is laid out, it looks more like a stream than a river.
Yeah, it looks like you just kind of jump over it, to be honest.
I see what's going on here. I see. Golden apple, somebody to ferry you across the river. Charon, I know who you are, Ramone, and I don't think I like it very much.
Hoo-hoo, welcome to my sweet embrace of death.
That's probably what it's like, yeah. Oh, and you have to give gold coins, otherwise he won't deliver you to the right place. Obviously, the hit coins we've been gathering.
Oh,
See, really, Layton is just in, like, Elysium, and he's trying to get out. That's, like, the whole plot.
Once he starts, I can't stop him. Now here's a puzzle. Where does this watch go on my body?
The thing is that you could guess that Gerard would probably struggle with that, you know?
Yeah, he, like, puts it around his ankle, and, like, Layton is like, oh, well, that's a simple mistake. Then he goes to a store and finds out there are actual ankle watches that people put on. He's like, oh.
That was a very unsubtle segue into a puzzle.
I have a puzzle. Speaking of a puzzle...
Like, Layton's like, but we were just leaving, so... fuck it.
You know, this is something that we sort of touched upon slightly earlier, but it was something that I was just doing a little bit of Layton research and came across it. And basically, Curious Village is the only game in the series where Layton thinks everyone else's desire to do puzzles is curious.
Huh.
Like, because it's the only game where he comments on its oddity, and then after this, it's just everyone in the world and it's totally normal. And the thing is that in Miracle Mask, you find out that in Layton's hometown, they were all obsessed with puzzles. So it then becomes really odd as to why he thought that Saint Mystere was curious.
You know, you bring up a really good point, Richie, and I notice this is true of a lot of Japanese media. They always have this one game that they obsess over after a while. With Yu-Gi-Oh! It's Duel Monsters. With Beyblade, it's the fucking Beyblades. And in this game, it's puzzles. That's like the universal game that everyone plays in this particular Japanese world.
Well, Japanese Britain land.
Well, same thing, but you can't exactly collect puzzles. You can't build a deck out of them. You can't sell boosters of them, so that's why Layton hasn't made as much money as those other franchises.
You can sleep on it, just don't pee on it.
Then he's got to use that as a blanket. Okay, shouldn't you be at home? Do you have a home? If not, I'm sorry. I'm just curious, admittedly.
Well, you're in the right village for that kind of thing, my friend.
No, that's true. I'm pretty sure I'm destined to fit here now.
The entire playthrough has been leading up to that one exchange. Even if it's a DS game, I love the atmosphere, I love the ambience. It's a very wishy-washy term, is atmosphere, when you're using it to describe something. It's a very personal kind of description, so obviously what I see as something cozy and atmospheric, you could probably see as boring, you know.
Well, I mean, I like this atmosphere too. I've always kind of, you know how I mentioned earlier, I like the idea of them being trapped in the village. It's like a whole Metroidvania kind of thing. I think it'd be really cool to have a game where you're stuck, a different game obviously than this one, where you're in this like weird little village at night. Maybe it's like a Resident Evil kind of game, or it's just like a, more of a Zelda type of game. I'd like to see more games like that where you're stuck in this one town and you gotta find a way out.
I'm just gonna level with you. I think I've heard of one.
Yeah, not Silent Hill. You know what I'm saying.
I was gonna say Quiet Mountainside.
Quiet Mountain? I've never even heard of that.
It's a joke, you idiot.
Yeah, alright. They just fused into like one lump of mice.
Giga Mouse.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was just watching an episode, like the first episode of Gravity Falls earlier, because why the hell not? And loads of gnomes combine to make Mega Gnome.
Oh yeah, I remember that bit. I've watched like a little bit of Gravity Falls. I really should go watch it. That and like Steven Universe, I like those shows. I just haven't sat down to watch them. Now there's so many episodes, I'm like, I really don't want to do an archive dump, so I'll just put it off for longer.
Well, before I get to that, I was actually watching Gravity Falls with Gaming Brett. It was one of the things that we did. Watched about half of it. He stopped asking. I got bored and moved on.
That's a good anecdote.
Also, I'll watch Steven Universe with you, because I've been wanting to get into it and I haven't watched a single episode.
Maybe, we'll see.
Really, the Layton playthrough is just our excuse to goof off. Have fun.
Is for It's like the mark of Zorro, but it's the mark of deliciousness.
You have to emphasize it, because it is a big fucking M. I think yours was the best, Richard. Understated.
Who has the best guttural noise in HFC? Let's look. Let's look into this.
What do you think, Gilbert Gottfried?
Don't ask me. I can't do Gilbert Gottfried.
I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about the actual Gilbert Gottfried. He makes the tea.
Well, he's here too? You know everybody.
Perks of being a Let's Player, mate.
Bookcase, but no actual books. So you just look at it.
It's fine, we'll get the books later, I think.
No, it'd be funny if Luke got the bookcase, but Layton got the actual books. Okay, Marco. Polo, listen. You should not be out here at this particular bend looking like you do. I realize that's judging somebody by, what they look like on the outside. But let's just say you're not doing anyone any favors.
Also, I'm pretty sure you're ugly on the inside as well.
Yeah, that's true.
You're just a complete fucking disaster.
We just hate you right now. When in fact, we're gonna club you to death right here in this alley. You got the bats.
Okay, I was marginally looking at the text, so when he said, hey, you're out looking for Ramone, I thought he said, hey, you're out looking for Batman.
Incorrect. We are Batman.
Not even trying to make a joke either, just one of those things.
I mean, the thing is, we are Batman, we are the Knight, and we have Robin with us.
Oof. Oh, that's a bad one. Stop it, Richie. Stick to the facts, mate. Alright, explain this one, Richie.
So this is a number maze, as it says. Basically, you've got to get to one of the exits, but you've got to figure out which one it is by kind of following the path.
Okay.
But the thing is that because of the way it's set up, you've got to find your own path through it, which is kind of mean, especially considering they didn't have the memo function at this point. So it's expecting you to draw on top of the puzzle, which can get rather confusing after a while. But once you know the answer, it's just like, okay, it's B, let's go with that.
Is it better to work backwards in that one, do you think?
I think that's true of a lot of puzzles, really. Just working backwards, you can eventually get back to the starting point, and that makes it a lot easier all around.
I'd say it's slightly more difficult on that particular puzzle, because, you can reach a point, because you've got the last kind of 2 movement, but from that point, it could go from anywhere, so I don't know whether working backwards would be the best solution to that puzzle.
I like how Luke got a bookcase, and then Layton got a friggin' teak bureau. I can't have him one-up me.
Howdy, we sell FUD.
Hello, I'm back here.
You buy Luigi a drink, eh?
Oh look, the barman, it's kind of a very fat Mario.
Sorta, without the mustache, you finally got tired of that. No, I got tired of that fucking princess shit a long time ago.
I was gonna say Bird and Manning myself.
Crumb, basically the same as Mario. Almost exact right there.
Also, how about the fact that each of the bar/restaurant owners are named after kind of breadcrumbs, so you've got crumb and you've got crouton.
Clever tricks for a game.
And he's trying very hard to sound impressed, just to give him some time. I just realized that's his hair on the back. I thought that was like some weird fuzz thing he had growing, but no, I guess that's what hair is when you think about it.
Alternate universe Danny Sexbang in the future.
Oh my god, that's terrifying.
Well, I mean, if you want something that's maybe less terrifying but slightly more impressive, do you guys want to hear about the reception for Curious Village, like critically and slightly on the sales point as well?
I'm going to say middling to start, but it had legs.
That's probably reasonably accurate. So critically, it kind of sits at an average of about 86% on game rankings and 85 out of 100 on Metacritic.
I would say like 80 to 90 is where I would put the Layton games. They're not like super-duper star games, but they're cute, they're charming. They're really, again, they're like murder mystery novels. You pick one up, you take it on holiday, you solve it, you come home, you're done.
Exactly. And I mean, basically, some reviewers praise the game for the successful combination of adventure game and brain training genres. And you have OneUp.com commenting on how the game's approach is much better than games where the puzzles were integrated into the environment. However, other reviewers didn't feel that the two genres merged particularly well, and Game Informer noted that while the player is given numerous small puzzles to solve, the mysteries of the main plot are basically solved for the player. So they didn't quite like that, and also the fact that it doesn't have a lot of replay value, because once you've solved all the puzzles, there's no point in returning to them.
Yeah.
But then you have the general European animation style, the cutscenes, just the general presentation that was really well liked. And it sold over 700,000 units in Japan in 2007. It was the top-selling game for the Nintendo DS in the United States in the first 3 weeks after its release. And after it was restocked in the UK, sales of Professor Layton increased 54%, moving it from 10th place to 4th place.
Hell yeah.
And also, it got quite a lot of awards. So it was awarded Best Handheld Game in 2008 at the Spike Video Game Awards, Best Nintendo DS Game of 2008 by GameSpy, 10th Best Game Overall of 2008 by GameSpy. In March 2009, it was awarded Best Handheld Award at the British Academy Video Game Awards. It was also nominated for Best Puzzle Game on IGN's 2008 Video Game Awards for the Nintendo
Okay,
DS.
I think we've heard enough here, because you could
It's
probably go
won
on.
every single award ever. Even some we're making up right now. The Best Commentary Game Award. I'm going to award this to Professor Layton in the Curious Village.
Well, by HellfireComms, yay! Da-da-da-da. Best fictional portrayal of a top hat in a video game.
Best Luigi cameo. Man, Layton is just winning these awards left and right.
Yeah, even in the centre.
Best Painting Scrap Collection minigame.
Alright, let's stop now.
Okay, alright.
And you want to know what gets even more balmy is the fact that, I mean, the Layton series has, as of April 2015, sold over 15.5 million copies.
Wow, that's almost as many units as the Wii U has moved. That was a joke. It's not selling as well as it should.
Worst commentary joke in a Layton game.
Thank you, Helldragon. You can stop talking now.
Can you solve this one, Helldragon? How many glasses do you need to pick up and move?
Oh, well, they moved it out of the fucking way before you asked me to do it.
It was one.
God damn it, but yeah.
Do it again on the next puzzle and I'll actually try to solve it.
Get good.
Fuck you, Luke. Don't sass me.
That's not very gentlemanly behaviour, Helldragon.
It's fine, Luke is the sass master.
Yes. No, the Wit Master. We are in the UK.
Yeah, Luke doesn't exactly strike me as sassy.
You'd be surprised.
Well, I mean, everybody can get sassy at one point or another, but it takes a special person to be devoted to sass, to become the sass master.
What is Agnes pointing at over there?
She's pointing at a hidden puzzle?
What's the matter, girl? Is there a ghost over there? It's like, sometimes my cat, I'm sure you people, like, watching / listening will have experienced this. Maybe even with a dog or any other kind of pet. They'll just, like, stare at something. Like, really intently. And then just go back to doing what they were doing.
Well, you know, cats are very intensely locked in the present moment, like most animals. I know my sister's cats would often do that with, like, TV or whatever, and then they'll just get bored and move on.
No, I'm not talking about staring at, like, something that's, like, moving and such. Just nothing. Like, literally nothing.
I don't know, maybe they're just resting.
With their eyes open.
You can do that. I've done that before.
I'm not trying to say ghosts are real, I'm just saying something's up, alright?
Well, I mean, one potential solution to the issue is, have either of you guys seen Inside Out?
I have not, but I spoiled myself on it, and thus I'm already an expert.
Well, you should watch it because it is a very interesting film, but in the credits, I mean, this is kind of a bit of a spoiler, but they go further into the idea of emotions inside people's heads. And it goes into other different characters, and it goes into a cat's head at one point, and it's brilliant.
Okay, well, you gave us the concept, you didn't tell us the execution, so I will gladly sit down and watch Inside Out one of these days. I always save a bunch of movies I haven't watched for my birthday, so there we go. Of course Luke gets the television.
But it doesn't have an antenna, so you can't actually get any channels. That's separate.
Also, the hotel doesn't get any kind of electricity in the attic.
Well, I mean, seeing as we've now just got the TV, I've still got that Iwata asks up.
Uh-huh.
And so Hino state that, I mean, the overseas reception of Layton was better than they'd first hoped.
Uh-huh.
So it was made with solidly Japanese sensibilities. So they thought that the overseas audience might think it was a little bit off base. Also, Helldragon.
Yes, solve this one.
Me?
Yeah, where's the monster?
It's the sky.
God damn it.
Where specifically?
The whole sky is the monster.
So where's the eye?
It's the moon. There you go, see?
You said it literally milliseconds before I stabbed it.
Helldragon got that right, obviously. Going back to the overseas Japanese thing. So, the world in Layton is very conveniently contrived as a London from a different world, not the one in real English history. It's a type of parallel universe. So, in order to make the worldview of that London as appealing as it could be, they ignored period settings such as cars and telephones, so it's sort of up to date but not. So it exists in a sort of fantasy world.
Yeah.
Which I suppose does allow it to fit quite nicely in with the Ace Attorney world. Obviously, they're technically rival series, but Layton's world is odd enough to allow for the possibility of the spiritual mediums of the Fays. And the Ace Attorney series is nuts enough to allow for the completely balmy explanations that you'll end up with in the Layton franchise.
Oh man, yeah.
Where did the sun go? He owed me money! So goddamn pissed trying to find video game footage, but everybody's talking over it all the time.
Seriously, man, calm down. Your nose is permanently red as a result of your perpetual anger.
Look up, stupid.
Oh, God, this puzzle.
Yeah, this one was kind of hard to dictate.
Well, not only that, but also, I mean, we had to redo it a number of times, I think because of slight cock-ups that either happened in the puzzle or just after the puzzle.
Yeah, don't draw literally on the edges. Go slightly around them.
But not too roughly around it, otherwise it won't recognise it as the star.
Mm-hmm. I used to have these types of puzzles I used to subscribe as a kid to a lot of different kind of magazines, and I think one of them was art based, and they would usually have these kind of crazy visual shape puzzles in the back. Okay, then I just won't bring up any more anecdotes.
God damn it, Paulie.
And we'll just leave him there to his impotent rage.
Sound of Paulie ranting in the background.
What the fuck are you looking at, cat?
Must be nice to walk around a kind of villagey town like this and not have to worry about any serial killers and the like.
Yeah, just monsters or whatever.
And kidnappers.
Yeah.
Also, that's very interesting. So, if you saw the kind of sky just there, that was essentially part of the sky in that puzzle that we just solved.
Getting kind of meta, Curious Village.
Well, it's fine, because we've just thrown sensibility out of the window because we've got a guy called Prosciutto who eats.
Get it? It's a cheese! Oh wait, no, it's meat. Fuck, I messed that up.
I was gonna
That
say.
was the perfect quote, but then it doesn't work.
Yeah, that just did not go well for you, did it?
What kind of meat is it? Is it ham?
Yes, it's dry-cured ham.
Hell yeah.
Usually thinly sliced and served uncooked.
Well, this guy looks like a trustworthy character. It's Deadbeat Santa.
Come and join my magical bag of mysteries.
Get in the fucking bag.
It's fine, it's Gandalf.
Deaf Santa. Bit of a downer.
And Dumbledore has just not been holding up that well, has he?
Well, you know, he's been dead for a number of years.
Well, I mean, it's that or Gandalf lost his hat.
Well, it's like a Dumbledore was a Death Eater now. I just realized he just goes around kidnapping kids.
The point of this whole sequence, after we get over our terrible jokes, is there's a shadowy guy prowling about. You may want to go indoors before night falls.
Pretty much, although, are we going to listen to that? Hell no.
Hell no. Tetrahedron?
Tetrahedron. It's a shape.
Yeah, I'm aware of what it is.
I mean, basically, it's a pyramid.
Why not just say pyramid then?
Because we want to be fancy and sound important and smart. I mean, he is a professor of archaeology, after all.
Okay.
Well, here's my guess.
So a tetrahedron is a polyhedron composed of 4 triangular faces. So it's a 4-faced object.
Okay.
Tetra meaning 4, and hedron being sort of the shape.
Hang on. There was a game on the GameCube, a Zelda one, called Tetra's Trackers, and I think there were 4 links in that. Is that like a stealth pun?
Most likely, yes.
All our talk is apparently boring, Luke. Well, I'm sorry, lad, but these parts are long and you're going to have to put up with some filler here and there. We still haven't found Ramone, so let's go back and tell people we have not found Ramone.
Wait a minute.
Oh, Jesus.
Just taking out the garbage, don't mind me. Oh shit!
Luke, sir, hold it there.
Right behind you.
I'll drop kick your knees!
These cutscenes are like such a treat to watch.
Although we are watching them on DS resolution, so blown up a little bit, it's kind of a bit fuzzy.
I mean, still, it's the fact that they managed to get such good-looking cutscenes onto the DS.
Yeah.
And they did retain quite a lot of the quality, surprisingly enough.
Didn't they patent an entirely new way of, like, compressing video and audio for these kind of movies?
They probably did, to be honest.
Well, that Moby Flip thing, I think, was eventually purchased by Nintendo.
Yeah, because I remember seeing, like, at the beginning of, like, some games, where it mentioned a particular codec they used.
I think the Kingdom Hearts DS games use that.
Yeah.
It most definitely did use that.
Now, before the guy ran off into that spooky old tower there, which looks like the home that the Weasleys would eventually purchase with all their wizarding gold, the Burrow 2.0, did you notice when his hat flipped up, there was spanners and whatnot inside?
Yeah, I saw that. I thought I saw, like, a little wrench or something. At least I thought it was a wrench.
I'm not really sure what to make of that so far.
No idea. Couldn't be suspicious in the slightest, really, could it?
Richie, mate, we're gonna have to have a subtlety seminar one of these days.
Let's keep the magic going.
It's another one of these.
I found it because I stepped on it. Well, no, but I'm gonna flick it at Paulie's head and see how he reacts.
You know how Polly's gonna react.
I know, that's why I'm gonna do it.
That, but more, please.
Good job. You didn't do anything. We saw something, but we didn't find him.
Well, we technically found Ramone.
Oh yeah, that's true. We did find him, but not in the condition we thought he was gonna be in.
The goal was to find Ramone, not locate and get Ramone.
Listen, lady, you didn't specify he had to be fucking alive. I'm a professor of archaeology. That's just not within my skill set.
Also, this was your turn. I am part of the local law enforcement.
I don't think this town actually has local law enforcement.
I mean, there's Chelmy, but he came from the outside.
Well, yeah, Chelmy's from Scotland Yard. He has absolutely no reason to police this place. They don't actually have a policeman in this village.
Scotland Yard, ironically not a yard in Scotland. Why is it called Scotland Yard?
Let me have a look.
He's tipping. He's tapping. Wow, straight up called him a serial murderer, that shadowy guy.
I'm kind of surprised they got away with that in a Nintendo game.
Oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense. So the name derives from the location of the original Metropolitan Police headquarters at 4 Whitehall Place, which had a rear entrance on a street called Great Scotland Yard.
Okay.
So, because of that, the Scotland Yard entrance became the public entrance to the police station, so the two became anonymous. Not anonymous, synonymous. Be slightly concerned if it became anonymous, because then nobody knew where to go.
I need the police, where are they? Oh, nobody knows.
What number do we call? I can't tell you.
Whoa, whoa. Ramone is back?
Is he back in black?
He's back in pog form. Yep, that's the Ramone we all know and kind of put up with.
Hoo-hoo.
This is roughly a part of the game where it just says, hey, you been enjoying the slow plot? I'm just gonna move this lever back to bullshit crazy mode.
Mm-hmm. And it's just going to get even more nuts from here on out, and it's beautiful.
This is what I've been waiting for, man. Yeah, sorry about that, Shelby. Yeah, I'm gentlemanly enough to know and to admit to any kind of faults and such.
Yes, we definitely didn't see someone kidnapping the guy who's in the room right now.
And they're very comical kind of Santa sack as well.
You know, I'm very surprised that he was actually able to carry Ramone, because he's not a small guy. I mean, he's kind of thin and lanky, but he's not small.
Well, all the weight's in his lips, so he balanced that correctly and bada bing.
True.
I'm just glad the guy did have like a giant sack. I was kind of expecting it to be a sack with a big money sign on it.
Sorry, you said I like how the guy had a giant sack, and I was just not listening after that.
I wasn't even trying, but as long as I made you laugh, I guess.
The lack of gentlemanly behaviour is just appalling.
You're meant to be Layton in this scenario, mate. That's the dynamic.
What, I am? I thought you were Layton. I thought I was the guy who got his arm chopped off by Obi-Wan, if we're still using that one metaphor, and we're in that fucked up bar.
Your name's not Richie, thank you very much. Yeah, put a little cut here, and we're done.
There we go.
I have no idea how this is going to help him get a girlfriend, though.
Women just love guys who can solve banal puzzles.
Is this like Cyrano de Bergerac? You know, that guy who wrote poems for that other person so he could woo that woman, but instead in this case it's puzzles and Layton's nose is not nearly that long?
Richie, that sounds vaguely literature-based. Do you know what the fuck he's on about?
Unfortunately, I do not.
You don't know Cyrano de Bergerac? That's a real thing. Look it up right now. You calling me a liar?
Just because it sounds French doesn't mean I think you made it up or anything.
Okay, so it's a play in 1897 by Edmund Rostand.
There you go, see?
Entire play is written in verse, in rhyming couplets of 12 syllables per line.
Yes, continue to prove me right.
And introduced the word panache into the English language.
Wow.
Apparently.
Nice.
Yeah, Ramone was definitely dead.
Professor, where is everything? Why are we in this void? This is the puzzle realm, my boy. We go here when we need to talk about the plot.
Oh, so like when Layton is like Yugi in like the early Yu-Gi-Oh! He takes people to the puzzle realm and they don't solve his puzzle, they have like an ironic punishment.
No, they just receive less picker rats, so they puts them back safe and sound.
He's like, oh, well, alright, I'm kind of disappointed.
He's a puzzle fiend, not a psychopath.
Although you have to admit, Yami Yugi in the early manga was pretty fucking awesome. Like, just fucking metal right there.
Yeah, there was that thing with the vodka and the lighter.
Oh, that was cool.
Okay, so Ramone has no idea what's going on. Yet we clearly saw him in that guy's transportation bag.
Is that what we're gonna call it? My magical mystery bag.
I think of these things ahead of time, so I don't make faux pas like that.
So it's like a leather car then.
Oh, one could say that, I guess. Okay, I guess we're gonna go see Inspector Chelmy, although, given that we've got 20 minutes left, I would assume we're gonna do a little bit of pottering about first.
I definitely think so. I mean, I wonder if we are going to do another one of Gordon's puzzles, because what's really odd is that he has a collection of puzzles which kind of all unlock around the same time. I mean, I believe that we could have done that rectangle one a hell of a lot earlier, but we ignored it for some reason. Following guides, it's what happens. But Beatrice has got something for us, so let's go and help her, seeing as she is providing us a living space, basically for free.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is she charging anything for this?
No, earlier she said she was waiving the fee.
Well, I mean, seeing as she's shoving us in the attic and there wasn't any furniture, she better damn waive the fee.
Yeah, really. Good job the Better Business Bureau can't get into St. Mystere right now.
Now, remember when we were recording this particular puzzle? I was just like, right, so cut the sandwich just there, and then I realised, oh, it's a how many cuts do you need, not where do you cut the damn thing.
Yeah, you thought it was kind of like a demonstration kind of thing, like it's showing there.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting it to be, and then it wasn't that, and I was just like, oh, okay.
I guess my question is where the fuck Beatrice got bread that was shaped like that to begin with? Did she, like, take a bite out of it beforehand? Because no way they came in that shape.
It's the UK, mate. We sell all types of sandwiches here.
Indeed we do.
Well, you sell, like, weird puzzle sandwiches? Can you
Get
solve
over
this?
the concept of a fucking triangular sandwich, Jesus.
Oh, it's actually going to try and give us another tutorial. He likes his tutorials, does this man?
He does.
Don't shout that in public, by the way. Doesn't work. He will not come and help you.
Well, yes, but you mean you can still shout Stattenschafen and not be filled with difficult puzzles.
I just become filled with shame, personally.
Yeah, it is a difficult puzzle to explain why the fuck you're shouting that in public, yeah?
Well, that makes me think of bogeys.
Explain further.
So...
Oh, I know what that is.
So back in the day, you had
yeah.
the TV show Dick and Dom in the Bungalow, or to use its correct terminology, Dick and Dom in Da Bungalow.
Yeah, down with the kids.
Yes, and one of the running segments of that was them playing bogeys, where you shout, well, you go to a public place and you try and shout bogeys as loud as possible, and you kind of try and top each other up until the point where someone tells you to shut up. And it was just the most hilarious thing when you were kids. Obviously now it's just like, you hear somebody shout bogeys and you're just like, oh, just shut up.
Yeah, go away, I'm so old now, just go away.
That reminds me of another conversational kind of game that I heard of, and I may have told you about this one, Tom. Have you ever heard of Undercover Hitler?
No, but I'm intrigued, so go on.
In Undercover Hitler, what you do is you try to have a conversation with someone as long as possible, and while you're doing this, you want to slip your first two fingers, your pointer and your middle, over your lips like a little Hitler mustache, and you want to see how long it takes the other person to realize that.
Okay, well, I've never heard of this game.
I don't even remember where I heard it from, but I've tried it a few times. It's funny.
There is a variant of bogeys called penis.
I bet there is.
Sounds about right, to be honest.
Come on, Deke, give us the puzzle goods.
Sorry, all I have is super duper sumos. I wonder if somebody is going around selling puzzles to these people who can't solve them. Did they make them up themselves? Because if they made them up themselves, then surely they would know the answer.
Puzzles. That is my response to that.
Just after a while, he's like, puzzles, I guess. Why are you still talking?
The answer is this one.
Mm-hmm.
That was my answer, too. I agree.
Fuck off, Eldro.
So, seeing as we are sort of slightly winding down for this part, does anybody want to hear about a slightly odd thing that happened when the transition of the cover art for Layton from east to west?
Sure, man, go for it.
So, one of the things that made a big impression on Hino was the European packaging.
Uh-huh.
So, the packages for Layton series sold in Europe are very, very different from every other area. And the design was proposed by Nintendo of Europe, and it's logo-centric. So, I mean, basically, if you look at the European ones, you have the Layton logo. So, basically similar to the HellfireComms Layton logo that we've got at the bottom there.
Ah.
And then you've got stuff happening in and around that. And at first, Hino was very against it, and there was arguments, because Layton was sold as a fusion of puzzles and story, and so they wanted the story and the puzzles to be shown on the package, the way that the Japanese package does. But Nintendo of Europe said, no, we just want to show off the puzzles. And eventually Hino really didn't like it or didn't expect it, because nothing like that had happened when he'd dealt with Nintendo before. So the thing was that he eventually realised was that Nintendo of Europe was recommending that package because they'd determined that Europeans would accept it more than the others for some bizarre reason.
Well, it's weird because Layton really was, like, if not the first of its kind, one of the first. I honestly can't remember a game beforehand that was literally just a collection of puzzles, with a story wrapped around it.
Exactly, and I think that is part of the reason why it ended up being so successful, and is, in a way, very well beloved as a series.
Yeah.
I just want to briefly look up the American packaging for this game, just to clarify that it's Layton being angry on the cover. Okay, well, he's not angry, he's more pensive, and Luke is like, what's that you're holding, Professor? But overall, it does kind of show off more of the characters and the fact that they're in the Curious Village setting. It's an alright cover.
Yes, Luke, we truly are the Curious Village.
I mean, I suppose that brings me on to another point. It's another one of those, I prefer the UK versions of the game, but when it comes to the titles, I mean, I prefer the packaging, but I don't know why. There's just something ever so slightly classier about the packaging, but when it comes to the titles, bar Spectre's Call, I have always thought that the UK variant of the titles were always the superior ones. Because mostly in relation to the plots. So, Diabolical Box, although Diabolical Box and Pandora's Box refer to the same box, there's actually precedent within the narrative. They refer to Pandora's Box when referring to the box, so that makes sense. Whereas Diabolical Box is slightly nefarious and just doesn't quite match up to what's going on.
Okay, yeah, I can see it from that point of view.
And then you get Lost Future, which I think is a far better title than Unwound Future, for the precise reasoning of the cutscene in which the title is dropped. I've shown it to Tom, and I think he understands where I'm coming from on it.
Definitely.
I'm not going to explain it anymore now, because hopefully we will have time to discuss it when we eventually, hopefully, get to doing Lost Future.
Yeah, well, I don't think we'll ever get that far, but I will say we will not be dropping any spoilers for future Layton games, or just Curious Village in general. We'll discuss them as they happen, and we'll discuss the other games in general, but we're not going to be like saying, oh, the spoiler for Diabolical Box is this.
Exactly. So I've always felt that the UK titles were superior. I mean, this is obviously sort of bringing up the whole UK is better than America thing, but which is just sort of friendly banter, but still.
Bit of a banter and a cheeky puzzle or two.
Just to clarify, was Professor Layton in The Last Spectre, was that the US title?
That was the US title. That's the only one where I would say that is a more fitting title than Spectre's Call.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. It actually plays in with the plot of that game really well, and I think it's very appropriate.
Oh, it was a real bitch to find that head going.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, It's in that bush. I don't know how to explain it. It's somewhere in there.
Does the cat have the fucking puzzle now?
I love how like the NPCs stick out from the background. It's actually rather charming.
I think it ends up, there's one particular moment where we have to deal with Matthew, and it's the only instance where we have an actual properly moving sprite. Because while we have characters kind of moving in place, we do eventually have a moment where Matthew is walking up and down a path.
Oh yeah, that's really jarring.
It's bizarre. Also, more maths.
What will it do, Helldragon, A, B or C?
Well, C. That's what I guess on test anyway.
Nope.
I kind of figured.
How does this sound?
I've already given up. I don't know about you.
I did it!
Helldragon didn't. Those cats go up, these ones go down.
Mm-hmm.
There was one on the right that I didn't really know what it was doing, but whatever. We will eventually put all these painting scraps to good use, don't you worry.
We just want to make sure that we have actually collected them all first, because that makes the entire process somewhat easier, because it's just like, okay, we have everything, we can now just go along, although the process of trying to put it all together it was painful.
Oh, did the house shake for a minute there?
No, that was just Chelmie's rage, mate. Oh, it's just fucking afternoon tea.
And cheesecake, the worst thing.
Well, I don't think that's cheesecake, I think that's actually a Victoria sponge.
I've never had that. Is that good?
Yes, I mean, it's a very British cake, as it should be.
I'm required by law to say yes.
Can you describe it in terms of other than it is from the UK?
Its deliciousness rating is off the charts.
So it's basically a sponge cake. I'm assuming you have sponge cakes in America.
I think I've had one before, I don't remember.
So that's the easiest way of describing it.
Well, you know, if I have a chance to eat one, I'll definitely try it.
I think there's a colloquialism, or whatever you say, that's getting mixed up here.
Yeah. I mean, it is definitely a colloquialism. Oh my god, now I'm struggling to say it.
Oh, my ignorance is rubbing off on Richie. I have ruined this man. Right, Charmy, you made your point. I'll be on my way.
Jeremy is such an asshole.
Yeah, you got to see it from his point of view. He's literally doing a murder investigation on his lonesome here.
He's not doing a very good job with it, is he?
Just yelling about cakes for the most part.
Exactly.
Like Gumshoe, but without the likability.
Definitely. Also, I like how we didn't remember to highlight when we were on 64 puzzles solved.
It's become so ingrained, I barely even notice it anymore. Although that being said, I did have 64 stars on Super Mario Maker when I checked earlier.
Oh, that's good.
Hell yeah.
That's just what you're looking for, just that everything kind of spiral around that magic number. Is it like a number of power to you, in a way?
It's my lucky power, mate. My lucky number.
Yes, Layton, I need your help solving this puzzle that I got from a Cracker Barrel. Can you help me out here?
Do you remember this one, Richard?
Yes, it was very difficult to explain it. There's one later on that's worse. But, I mean, the principle of this one's actually okay, because you're just shifting the cross, kind of rotating it to the left a little bit, and so on. But trying to explain which peg connects to which peg was just like, oh my god.
It's like talking to a brick wall with me at certain points, honestly.
Well, no, but the thing is that it is really difficult to deal with, because it's just like, this peg goes to the one immediately diagonally down from it, and it's just like, there's a few immediately diagonally down from it. So, thankfully we got to this point, and it was just like, okay, mirror that.
Okay.
Then we were fine.
Getting there, slowly but surely. You can see me working it out, the cogs are whirring.
Just be careful, be gentle. These are pins. They've had a hard life. Just take it easy and they'll be fine. We'll be fine. Everybody will be fine.
Yeah, there's a puzzle later on which involves this kind of pinboard thing, and oh, good grief, because you've got to make a load of different squares on it. So it's kind of just like, you've got to be very, very precise in which pins you use.
Isn't that like the second to last one in the game?
It's something like that, yeah.
Another puzzle solved.
Pretty boring one, but I don't judge.
I think it's kind of a thing that happened as the series went on, is that because they ended up repeating quite a few puzzle types, they did start to drag, unfortunately. It's why there is an element of freshness in Miracle Mask, but unfortunately quite a few of the puzzles in Miracle Mask don't quite work as well as they should.
I believe you keep saying unintuitive.
Yes, that I think is the term that I have been using, and it is the thing that I would say is most accurate, because there are a bunch of puzzles where it's not using the same type of logic sensors as the rest of the series.
Well, I personally don't like Unbound Future because some of the puzzles fucking trick you, and I get why it's doing that. It's, well, I can't really say anymore, but yeah, I understand why it's doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say by the point of Lost Future, it was the series was beginning to suffer from puzzle fatigue. I'd say that it got 10 times worse in Spectre's Call. Like, I felt that game dragged because I felt like I had done all of the puzzles before. Lost Future was just on the boundary, and even though I would say it's probably one of the more challenging games in the series, it was just at the cusp of being too much.
Weirdly, the prequel games seem to, mirror the original trilogy. Like, Spectre's Call, Last Spectre, whatever. A charming little game. You know, it takes place in a village. You've got, simple puzzles and such. Probably simple to the point of rehashing. Miracle Mask, it's in a far-off, mysterious town, and crazy, surreal stuff is happening. Haven't played Azran Legacy, but I would bet good money on it's quite similar to Lost Future.
I would say you are very accurate in that, because there's lots of moving about between different locations, because Lost Future you have going to between locations. Azran Legacy has the jet setting element to it, and also it's got the huge climax element to it. That's about as much as I am willing to say on that front.
Okay, that wasn't even a puzzle. You just wanted us to do yard work for you at that point? Just kind of, hey, could you fix my shed?
So very, very warm in here. It's almost the end of the parlay. Just solve this and you can go on your merry way.
Don't think it's going to be quite that simple, unfortunately.
Oh, fuck you, Charmy.
I think there's going to be more puzzles after this.
This is the 5th part we have recorded today. One of the longer recording sessions in recent memory, but keep it irreverent, keep it fresh, stay fresh. Watch the Splatoon playthrough, please. And, you can get through hour-long parts without nary a care.
Yeah, it's all good. You've just got to do what a gentleman does.
Richie, you're not going to turn that into a thing. Stop it.
We'll get a catchphrase sooner or later.
I'm repeating Layton's catchphrases. It's perfectly fine.
Helldragon, your catchphrase is bad.
No, it's not. That catchphrase has long been dropped. I have since abandoned my hatred for the flying rat creature that we know as bats, and we have found a new understanding together.
The actual detective. Wow, he's basically saying fuck off and go search for that wild goose chase kind of thing.
I'm gonna occupy my foot up your ass in a moment if you don't cut your shit out.
What, you're threatening a police officer or a detective, mate?
What, you think I can't? I'm the strongest professor in archaeology around.
Whether you can beat up him is irrelevant, mate.
Well, I don't know. No, I really do want to settle this.
Well, you know what? You want to so badly, go and assault that man of the law. I'm sure nothing will happen.
Sounds good to me.
Helldragon won't be appearing in any future commentaries.
No, Scotland Yard got to him.
Yeah. It's a very rude kind of puzzle, asking your mother's age. Old Phoenix right there, by the way.
Oh, yeah. 44 fucking... Oh, shit, how old was she? I don't even remember our fucking anniversary, much less her age.
Now, I have to say, this is a very minor thing, but it is something that I quite like, is that the game is willing to accept either way of writing 4. Because, obviously, I mean, it does baffle me that there are 2 ways of writing the number 4, because you have that version which you see in the picture there, but you also have the one that is in the description.
The fancy one, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like... And it allows both of them quite happily.
Luke doesn't get any art, sorry. Look at the walls. Well, he's got a TV, he's fine.
Yeah. I think we're pretty much done for this part now.
I think we are, thank God. And, okay, we were slightly wrong in mushing 2 parts together. That might actually be one of the later ones, because I know that there is a really short chapter somewhere in there.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, this one was a kind of half an hour chapter with a half hour extra intermission bit. It's just like, oh my God.
Okay, so he's clearly either lying or he'd lost his memory.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
We'll have to keep an eye on him. From a distance, because I hate the guy, of course. Looks like Mr. Bean in that shot. Mr. Bean! Ho-ho-ho-ho!
I hope there's a guy based on Alan Partridge around here than Jurassic Park.
Great banter, just great. I've been told on multiple occasions that I sound like Alan Partridge. Personally, I don't hear it.
Alan Partridge is a bit more exaggerated, but
Aha!
Aha!
I mean, I suppose part of it might just be you have an English accent, therefore most people tend to amalgamate everything into one.
Yep, been there, mate. Okay, we have come to the end of the longest part of the Professor Layton and the Curious Village playthrough. We're going on break. See you guys next time for another part. Bye-bye.